So Vijay Mallya, like Lalit Modi, the latest exile to find home in England and the latest high-profile businessman to trigger a political storm in India. Well, questions about Vijay Mallya's influence have always surrounded his dealings, and banks have come under increasing pressure. Questions being asked as to why they exercised such indiscretion in granting him loans and whether they were not pursuing hard enough the reclamation of those loans. The chief of the State Bank of India, the consortium leader of all the lenders that collectively are owed about 9,000 crore rupees, Arundhati Bhattacharya, spoke to NDTV earlier today, where she gave an example of how they tried to go after one particular Vijay Mallya asset in Goa and what happened next. Let's listen.
Even in respect of one particular villa, which we were trying to get possession of.
That's the Goa villa.
The Goa villa. We have been trying to get possession of it. And in spite of the fact that the High Court had passed an order saying that it should be done in 3 months, the order was given to the collector. The collector in turn held 8 hearings and then went on leave. So we couldn't get the order in spite of that.
This is the Goa government's collector,
yes.
the IAS officer
yes.
of equivalent.
Yes. Yes. And normally collectors are supposed to take possession and give to us, not have hearings.
Right.
But this person had 8 hearings.
And then went on leave.
Yes. And we are still not in possession of it, though we are trying very, very hard. Even in respect of this recent matter, it is we who approached the AG and said that we need to really take it up to the highest court. And we were said...
Advocate General.
Yes.
Attorney General.
Yes, Attorney General. And we were said that we can't go directly to the highest court, we have to go through DRT. So the very next day we moved DRT. DRT didn't give any relief. The next day we went to High Court. High Court remitted it back to DRT. DRT gave its order but gave no relief because our relief was only one. We needed his assets under oath.
Right.
So the difficulties of just trying to acquire and sell one particular villa in Goa was met by fierce local resistance, indicating once again the presence of political clout. Well, joining me tonight to debate this expanding controversy is Kirit Somaiya, BJP MP, joining me. He's been very vocal on the subject. Thank you so much, Kirit Bhai. You've just come out of Parliament. Here in our Delhi studios, Tom Vadakkan, spokesperson of the Congress, Prashant Bhushan, senior advocate of the Supreme Court, also with us, as is Parvez Damania, who's a former executive with Kingfisher Airlines. Thank you all so much for being here. Kirit Somaiya, thank you for joining us. Now, strong political sparks flying in Parliament today, Kirit Somaiya, with the Congress alleging that under your government, Vijay Mallya was allowed to leave even though he had so many charges against him. The CBI had some kind of a lookout notice, and yet he calmly walked away a week ago.
There is no question of walking away. The government made its stand very clear. Arun Jaitley specifically said,
yes.
Forget about King. King means Vijay Mallya.
Yes.
But all those persons, all those defaulters who are willful defaulters have siphoned of money.
Sir,
will be dealt very severely as soon as the judiciary system asks that Vijay Mallya should be brought back. The government will take all.
But sir, how was he allowed to leave?
And will bring him back.
No, but how was he allowed to leave? Because the CBI FIR was registered in June of last year. They had 8 months.
You are aware about the law. As soon as when the judiciary system declare him absconding,
yes,
he will be brought back. That is one thing. But I would also add one more thing.
No, but
we are not keeping ourselves limited to Vijay Mallya.
No, I'll come to the other. I'll broaden this debate in a second, but let me just get Tom Vadakkan if he agrees with that. Do you agree with that? That there is a judicial system at place and you simply can't jump the gun?
Normally, I would have heard the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesman speak on issues, but here's a very strange argument being put out. He was supported by the Bharatiya Janata Party when he became a member of the Rajya Sabha, so he's part of the system. Okay, be what it may, he's an all-party man. I also want to admit that because
you may admit that. Because nobody, I think, can take the moral high ground when it comes to Vijay Mallya.
Let me complete this. A man with 22 cases against him, with a watch-out notice on every embarking point in this system, the finance minister today tells, today in a press conference, says well, you know, on that particular day,
Yes.
there was no lookout order for him. Now, that's very strange. FIR filed by the CBI. Okay. Now, FIR is after a PE inquiry and the CBI follows a due process. Not that I am saying CBI is a perfect process, but they had warned the system.
You know, Kirit Somaiya, I want to ask you because Arun Jaitley said today very clearly, he said, look, why is the Congress walking out of this? This is not Quattroki, indicating that this is yet another example, are we to believe, where politically connected people are given a different standard of the law, Kirit Somaiya. Even though, as you said, the assurance is that all defaulters will be gone after, but as he's pointing out, the question is that when you have an FIR against him, when you have so many notices against him, he's been raided, he's been questioned, and now he's sitting in London.
I do agree with you. The country's concern today is regarding the 6 lakh crores NPA stress assets of the banks. People are afraid that the big people are not caught.
Yes.
And that is true also. But let me make it clear, the Modi government has made it clear that we are going to nail down everybody. See, I think it is rarely it happens, rarely. One may say it is late, but rarely it happens.
Would
A
you say-
group of bankers, public sector bank, please,
Yes, yes.
public sector bank have approached Supreme Court.
Yes.
What I will do, I can tell you in individual as a responsible person of BJP, I can tell you, now I'm going to take out all those names and I'm to nail down them.
Okay.
I'm going to insist
I'll
the
ask
bank,
you one
PSB
question.
bank
I'll ask
and
you
all
one
others.
question. The Attorney General
Yes.
in the Supreme Court on the 8th asked, pleads on the Supreme, saying that this gentleman will vanish. And on the 9th, and while he had already vanished on the 2nd, with connivance, I repeat and charge, with the connivance of the establishment. You can check up with the CCTV, with 11 checked in luggage, this man walks out of this country into London. Okay? The AG, and let me complete this.
Yes.
The AG asks questions that this man will escape on the 8th. Why can't you inform the AG that this man has left the country?
Let's get Prashant Bhushan in. Prashant Bhushan, you have a situation where the BJP says, look, that all these, all the debt, all the loans were extended to Vijay Mallya during the Congress's tenure, and he escapes now, and we are being told by the Congress he's escaped in the tenure of the BJP. Is Vijay Mallya an example of how cronyism still continues to hold sway in Indian public life?
No, absolutely. Vijay Mallya is just the most egregious example because of his very flamboyant lifestyle. But there are people who have defaulted on more amount than Vijay Mallya. There is the Bhushan Steel Group, there is this SR Group which has defaulted on more than Vijay Mallya. But in all these cases we have seen that these big corporate honchos who are really large corporates having empires in thousands or tens of thousands of crores, etc., their influence cuts across party lines. Therefore, irrespective of which government is in power.
Are you convinced when Kirit Somaiya says this government is not going to have any tolerance for all of this? That there's going to be no cronyism, there's going to be no special favors. Are you convinced?
No, not at all, not at all. They held back this Priya Pillai of Greenpeace, against whom there was no case. And they could catch her and they revoked her passport, etc., and prevented her from going to UK for a normal meeting.
Yes.
But they couldn't catch Vijay Mallya, against whom there was a CBI case, Enforcement Directorate case of money laundering, etc. Not only that, Mr. Modi goes to, just 1 minute, Mr. Modi goes to Australia with this State Bank chairman and Mr. Adani in tow, and gets the State Bank to grant a loan to Adani of 6,000 crores for a port project in Australia, for which all the Australian banks had declined loan on the ground that it was totally unsafe.
Let's get Kirit Somaiya to respond to that. Yet, in all fairness, he must be given a chance to respond. Kirit Somaiya.
As I told, Keith, now the government has made themselves clear. Vijay Mallya might have abused his position as a member of parliament.
Yes.
Give some chance to some time to the government. Government has come out openly that Vijay, including Vijay Mallya, all those people who have siphoned up money, you know, just last week we have submitted a report which I am a member of that finance committee.
Yes.
And I myself have recommended that all those willful defaulters, forensic audit must be conducted. And the government is interested, inclined to accept that report.
Okay, let's...
So it is the first time some action is being started.
You know, I'm not disputing that these efforts are being made, and I know how vocal you are on this particular subject, particularly on financial malfeasance. It's just that when you have a situation like what we have with Vijay Mallya, questions are going to be raised about the government's sincerity. I will come back to you in a second. Let me bring in Divakar Gupta, who's been listening patiently to this. He's a former MD of the State Bank of India, a former CFO. State Bank of India, as we know, is the leading bank heading this consortium. Mr. Gupta, you know, how much of a reality is this, that banks like yourself did face pressure? Clout influence does come into play when you have lenders and you have borrowers like Vijay Mallya. Was that, how much of a problem is that when you see what's happening now?
Srinivasan, I have been saying this in the past as well. It's very hard to convince people, but I've been in the boardroom of State Bank of India for a long time.
Right.
You know, I don't think it's really true that there is a lot of pressure which makes banks either give bad loans or makes people get away when they shouldn't get away. Banks have been trying very hard for the last 3 years. I don't know the legal details of the recent past, but you know, I don't think banks can be found to have been faulted in trying to press for the recovery of their debts, including the one that you've been discussing on the show today. I think the banks are doing everything. Probably the larger problem lies with the legal system, because you know, there are so many of these high profile cases which go on for 10 years, 20 years, 1984, right. Black Buck. Everything takes 10, 15 years, and I think really it's the larger process which allows delays. Obviously, that delay is not fair to the lender who wants to recover.
No, but how would you explain the fact that if you have almost now 9,000 crores of debt, very little of that money, it appears, is coming out of the assets that were pledged? How would you explain that? Surely that shows that due diligence is not done, or at least not done as much as it should.
No, I think I would like to be on record that is a very dangerous line of argument.
Okay.
You know, bankers, and this has been the case since 1947, bankers give money to an enterprise because they feel it has a good chance of succeeding.
Right.
There is always a chance of failure in any enterprise.
Right.
Now, would anybody dispute that Kingfisher at some point of time was an airline with 23% market share where everybody wanted to travel with it? Something went wrong with the model, and yes, as far as the subsequent events are concerned,
yes.
If at all, banks can be responsible for not being very proactive or quick in resolving stressed asset.
Okay.
That charge could stick. But to say that it is willful, it allows somebody to go away, that is I don't think that's the truth.
Do you accept that, Kirit Somaya? But let me ask you actually a more direct question. What is the government going to do to ensure that Vijay Mallya is brought to justice and that he doesn't become another Lalit Modi, who incidentally is also still sitting, pretty wherever he is?
The government has made commitment. We are going to take all effort. The investigative agencies are taking all whatever it is possible effort as soon as the judicially and action started.
All these efforts, I have just one question. Are you going to follow the extradition path, or are you asking for deportation? Please answer that. Your sincerity is understood, but is your government going to walk that talk?
Will you move for deportation or extradition of Vijay Mallya? Deportation or extradition, Kirit Bhai?
See, as soon as the judiciary system issues instruction order to bring Mallya back,
Yes.
whatever necessary will be done.
Oh, that's a very clever way of saying
Sir,
it.
that's-
On sedition charges, you can get a man. On doctored video, you can put him
That's the-
inside. But here's Vijay Mallya walking in with 11 checked-in baggages across. You're watching him on CCTV. If you get that TV, you will get an example how the system walked him out into the tarmac. The fact of the matter is, we are charging
Let him respond,
not
let him
of
respond.
negligence,
Let
but
him respond,
of
let him respond.
connivance. And that, I think, is a very serious matter. You may talk about past incidents, but this is a matter that has shaken
Okay,
Parliament.
okay.
We have walked out on this issue. I think we need answers. The people of India need answers.
Shailendra Singh is also joining us, MD of Percept, someone who's been close to Mallya, Vijay Mallya, for many years. Shailendra, thanks for listening in. What do you think Vijay Mallya was thinking when he left the country? Wasn't he aware that there would be this huge negative backlash? Have you had any sort of contact with him? Is there any indication that he's giving that he's going to come back and that he regrets, the controversy that's erupted around him?
I think, first of all, Srinivasan, the interesting aspect is that if the media did not bring up this issue and this particular case to light, I don't think the citizens of India would have realized that 7,000 crores of their money is gone missing. Point number one. Point number two, I mean, I'm not in contact with Mr. Mallya on an hourly basis, but the fact of the matter is also that why does India keep creating laws and governance systems that
Right.
people like Mr. Mallya and many other corporates, like our other politician friends said, can get away with murder. They can take the money, they can run. Mr. Mallya is just another corporate who's understood how to manipulate the Indian law and the system and made himself rich. What really worries me is the Make in India startup program. Imagine every youngster watching this program today, wouldn't want the Vijay Mallya formula of getting a quick buck in the market, or is he going to work hard to create his money?